The morning road was quiet and almost empty as a police car moved slowly through a small town surrounded by fields and old trees. The air felt cool and fresh, and the sky carried a soft pale light. Officer Anna sat behind the wheel with calm focus. Her hands rested gently on the steering wheel, and her eyes watched the road ahead. This shift felt peaceful and simple, like many mornings before. Nothing suggested that this day would be different. Anna had worked in this town for several years. She knew most streets by memory, and understood the gentle rhythm of the place. The town was small, and people trusted one another. Children rode bikes freely, and shop owners greeted each other every day. Anna liked this town because it reminded her that quiet places still existed. She enjoyed early shifts when the world felt slow and kind. As the car rolled forward, something suddenly moved near the edge of the road. Anna noticed it at the last moment. She pressed the brake, and the car stopped smoothly. Her eyes widened slightly as she saw a tiny German Shepherd puppy standing in front of the car. The puppy was small with soft fur that looked dusty and uneven. Its legs were thin, and its ears drooped gently. It stood still as if it had made a careful choice to stop there. Anna took a slow breath. She had seen animals wander near roads before, but this felt different. The puppy did not look confused or playful. It looked focused and alert. Its eyes were wide and shining with a strange mix of fear and hope. Anna turned off the engine and opened the door slowly. The sound of the door did not scare the puppy. Instead, it stepped closer and sat down. Its tail moved weakly against the road. The puppy looked up at Anna and made a soft sound. It was not loud, but it was full of feeling. Anna felt her chest tighten slightly. She crouched down to appear smaller and kinder. The puppy stood again and walked a few steps away. It stopped and turned back to look at her. Then it walked again in the same direction and looked back once more. The message felt clear, even without words. Anna stood up and closed the car door. She glanced around the road, which remained empty. She knew she should call for assistance, or at least report the situation, but something inside her told her to wait. The puppy had purpose in its movement. It was not lost, it was leading. She followed at a steady pace, keeping enough distance so the puppy would not feel chased. The puppy led her off the road toward a wide open field behind a group of old buildings. The grass reached her knees and moved softly with the breeze. The puppy moved carefully, but with urgency, stopping often to make sure Anna was still there. Each time it looked back, its eyes searched her face as if checking for trust. Anna felt a growing sense of concern. The field felt quiet in a heavy way, like something important waited ahead. Her boots pressed down the grass, leaving a clear path behind them. The smell of earth and dry leaves filled the air. Birds watched silently from nearby trees. The puppy suddenly sped up and ran toward a small shed near the edge of the field. The shed looked old and worn. Its wooden walls were faded, and one side leaned slightly. The door hung half open, as if forgotten by time. The puppy slipped inside without hesitation. Anna slowed her steps. Her heart beat faster. Now she placed one hand on her radio, but still did not call. She stepped closer and gently pushed the door open a little more. Inside the shed, the light was dim. Dust floated in the air, caught by thin rays of sunlight coming through cracks in the walls. Anna paused to let her eyes adjust. She took a careful step forward, and then another. Her breath caught as she saw shapes in the corner of the shed. Lying on the ground was an older German Shepherd. The dog looked thin and tired. Its breathing was slow and shallow. Its fur was dull and patchy, and its body barely moved. Near its side were two very small puppies. Their bodies were close together, and they were so still that Anna had to watch closely to see their chests move. The puppy that had led her ran to them and pressed against the older dog. It made a soft sound full of worry and relief. Anna felt tears rise to her eyes, but she stayed calm. She knelt slowly, keeping her movements gentle. She could see that the older dog was weak and struggling. The puppies were alive, but clearly needed care. Anna understood in that moment what had happened. This small puppy had left its family alone. It had crossed the field and reached the road. It had stopped a moving police car without fear. It had done what it could to save them. The weight of that realization filled the shed with emotion. Anna spoke softly, using a calm, steady voice. She did not want to cause stress. She looked around the shed for signs of danger, but saw none, only emptiness and neglect. The shed had offered little protection from weather or hunger. The dogs had likely been there for days. She reached for her radio and held it carefully. Her voice remained calm as she called for help. She explained the situation clearly, asking for animal rescue support and medical assistance. As she waited, she stayed close to the dogs. The small puppy stayed near her now, as if it trusted her completely. Anna removed her jacket slowly and placed it gently over the older dog to keep it warm. She watched the puppies closely and made sure they were breathing. She whispered reassuring words, even though she did not know if they could hear her. Time felt slow inside that shed, but she stayed patient and focused. Outside, the field remained quiet, but the world had already changed for Anna. This was no longer just another shift. It was a moment that showed her courage could come in the smallest form. A tiny puppy had stopped a police car and asked for help, and she had listened. The wait inside the old shed felt long, even though only a short time passed. Anna stayed kneeling beside the dogs, keeping her body low and calm. The older German Shepherd lifted her head slightly, then rested it again. Her eyes opened for a moment, showing deep exhaustion, but also trust. The small puppy stayed close to Anna, pressing against her leg as if guarding both her and its family. Anna listened carefully to every sound. She could hear the wind moving through the tall grass outside and the distant hum of the town beyond the field. The puppies made tiny movements and soft breaths. Anna counted each rise and fall of their chests to keep herself steady. She had faced many situations as an officer, but this one touched her in a way she did not expect. She spoke softly to the older dog using a gentle tone. She told her help was coming, and that she was safe now. The words were simple, but filled with care. The older dog blinked slowly, as if understanding. The puppy who had gone for help lifted its head proudly, then rested it against the older dog again. Anna checked her watch and her radio. She knew support would arrive soon, but she also knew every moment mattered. She looked around the shed again, searching for anything useful. There was nothing but broken wood, dry leaves, and dust. The place showed signs of long neglect and silence. It was clear the dogs had been alone for some time. As minutes passed, Anna noticed the older dog breathing more steadily. The jacket helped keep warmth close. The puppies shifted slightly closer to their mother. Their small bodies depended on her, and now on Anna the responsibility felt heavy but meaningful. At last the sound of a vehicle reached the edge of the field. Anna stood slowly and stepped outside, waving her arm to guide them. The animal rescue truck and another police car came into view, moving carefully through the grass. 2 rescue workers stepped out carrying blankets and medical bags. Their faces showed concern, but also relief at finding the dogs alive. Anna led them into the shed and explained everything. She told them about the puppy stopping her car and leading her here. The rescue workers listened closely. Their eyes softened when they saw the scene. The older dog was examined gently, and the puppies were wrapped carefully in warm cloths. The brave puppy stayed close, watching every movement with alert eyes. The rescue team worked calmly, and with skill they checked breathing, warmth, and strength. The older dog was weak, but stable. One worker nodded and said she would recover with care. The puppies were fragile, but fighting. Anna felt a quiet wave of relief move through her chest. The dogs were lifted carefully onto soft stretchers. The puppy that had asked for help refused to leave its family. The workers allowed it to stay close and placed it beside them. The puppy remained calm, as if knowing it had done its job. As they moved out of the shed, Anna followed, watching closely. The field no longer felt heavy, it felt hopeful. The grass moved gently again, and birds returned to their songs. The rescue truck doors closed softly, and the engine started. Before the truck drove away, Anna reached out and gently touched the brave puppy. The puppy looked up at her, eyes bright and steady. Its tail moved with new strength. Anna smiled and whispered words of praise. The puppy did not understand the words but felt the feeling behind them. Anna watched until the truck disappeared down the road. Then she stood alone in the field for a moment, letting the silence return. Her shift would continue, but she knew this day would stay with her forever. She walked back to her car, feeling changed in a quiet, deep way. Later that day, Anna visited the rescue center after her shift ended. She wanted to know how the dogs were doing. The staff welcomed her warmly and showed her the recovery room. The older German shepherd rested on a clean bed, her breathing calm. The puppies slept close together, safe and warm, and beside them sat the brave puppy watching the door. When the puppy saw Anna, it stood up and walked toward her with confidence. Its tail moved happily. Anna knelt down, and the puppy pressed against her again. The bond was already strong. The staff smiled and told Anna the puppy would be ready for adoption soon. Anna stayed there for a long time. She watched the dogs rest and recover. She thought about how courage could live in such a small body. She realized that some calls were not about duty, but about listening and caring. As Anna left the rescue center, the sun was setting over the town. The sky glowed with warm colors. She felt tired, but fulfilled. A puppy had stopped a police car and changed a life, and this story was far from over. Days passed quietly after the rescue, but the story continued to grow inside the town. Anna returned to her normal duties, but her thoughts often drifted back to the small rescue center. Each morning she wondered how the dogs were doing, and each night she hoped they were healing well. The memory of the brave puppy standing in front of her police car stayed clear in her mind. At the rescue center, the older German shepherd slowly regained strength. Her eyes grew brighter each day, and her movements became steadier. The puppies gained warmth and energy. Their small bodies no longer trembled, and their breaths became smooth. The brave puppy stayed close to them, always watching, always alert. The staff began calling the puppy Hope because of what it had done. Hope quickly became a favorite at the center. Visitors stopped to watch the puppy walk proudly through the room. Even though it was still young, it carried itself with confidence. It followed staff members carefully and stayed close to the other dogs. It showed patience and kindness beyond its age. Anna visited often, sometimes bringing soft toys, sometimes just sitting quietly. She never rushed the dogs. She simply stayed near, letting them feel safe. Hope always noticed her arrival. The puppy would lift its head and walk over, tail moving with joy. It remembered her scent and her voice and trusted her deeply. One afternoon, the rescue center manager spoke to Anna quietly. She explained that while the puppies would soon be ready for new homes, the older dog would need longer care. She had been through a hard time and needed peace. The manager then looked at Anna and gently asked if she had ever thought about adoption. Anna felt her breath pause. She had lived alone for many years. Her work hours were long and unpredictable. She had never planned to bring an animal into her life, yet as she looked at Hope sitting beside her, she felt something shift inside her heart. Already knew the answer, even if her mind needed time. Anna asked for a few days to think. The manager smiled and said there was no rush. She believed Hope had already chosen Anna in its own way. That night Anna returned home and sat quietly. She thought about her routine, her empty home, and the silence that greeted her each evening. She imagined Hope there waiting, watching, trusting. The next morning, Anna returned to the center. She knelt beside Hope and placed her hand gently on its back. Hope leaned into her touch without hesitation. Anna felt calm and certain. She spoke to the manager and said she wanted to adopt Hope when the time was right. The paperwork took time, but the decision felt easy. Anna prepared her home. She bought a small bed, food bowls, and a leash. She cleaned her space and made room for something new. Her home felt different, already warmer somehow. Meanwhile, the older dog continued to heal. The staff named her Grace. She moved slowly, but with dignity. She watched her puppies and Hope with calm eyes. When Hope was taken for walks, Grace followed with her gaze as if proud. The day came when the puppies found kind families. Each goodbye was gentle and filled with care. Grace watched as each puppy left safe and loved. She seemed to understand that this was the right path. Hope stayed by Grace until the end, then returned to Anna without fear. When adoption day arrived, Anna stood outside the rescue center holding the leash. Hope walked beside her, head high, tail steady. The staff gathered to say goodbye. There were smiles and quiet tears. They all knew Hope would be safe and loved. As Anna and Hope walked to the car, the same road where they first met lay ahead. The moment felt full circle. Hope paused for a second and looked up at Anna. Anna smiled and nodded. They moved forward together. Life changed in small ways after that. Mornings began with walks, evenings ended with quiet company. Hope learned Anna's routine quickly. It waited patiently during long shifts and greeted her with joy when she returned. The home was no longer silent, it was filled with gentle movement and presence. Anna noticed changes in herself too. She smiled more, she rested better, she felt less alone. Hope brought comfort without asking anything in return. The bond between them grew strong and steady, built on trust and a shared beginning. The town soon learned the story. Children waved when they saw Hope walking beside Anna. People spoke with warmth and pride. The puppy that stopped a police car had become a symbol of courage and kindness. One evening Anna sat on her porch watching the sky change colors. Hope rested beside her, head on her foot. Anna looked down and whispered thanks. Hope lifted its head and looked back, eyes calm and knowing. The story that began with a quiet road and a brave puppy had become something deeper, a connection formed by trust, choice, and care. And though the future was unknown, Anna knew one thing for certain: she would never walk alone again. Life settled into a gentle rhythm as weeks passed in the small town. Anna and Hope became a familiar sight on the streets. Early in the morning and late in the evening, people smiled as they passed. Some stopped to share kind words, others simply watched with quiet respect. The story of the brave puppy had spread beyond the town, and yet Hope remained humble, moving with calm confidence beside Anna. Hope grew quickly. Its legs became strong, and its ears stood tall. Its eyes stayed bright and aware, always watching, always learning. Training came naturally. Hope listened closely and followed Anna with trust. The bond between them deepened, each day built on shared moments and quiet understanding. Hope was not just a companion, but a partner who sensed Anna's moods and stayed close when days felt heavy. At the rescue center, Grace continued to recover. She walked more steadily now and enjoyed resting in the sun near the windows. The staff cared for her with patience and respect. One afternoon, a calm older couple visited the center. They moved slowly and spoke softly. Grace watched them carefully. When they knelt beside her, she leaned forward without fear. The staff noticed the connection and felt hope for a peaceful future for Grace. Days later, Grace left the center with the couple. She walked gently beside them, head held high. The rescue staff waved as she left, knowing she would be loved. The chapter that began in the old shed had found its place. Grace had given her strength to her puppies and to Hope, and now she would rest in safety. Back in town, Anna received a letter from the rescue center thanking her for her care and compassion. The letter spoke of how one small act of attention had changed many lives. Anna held the letter quietly and felt warmth spread through her chest. She realized how listening had been the most important choice she made that day. One afternoon, the town held a small gathering near the community hall. Families came, children played, and music filled the air. Anna arrived with Hope walking proudly beside her. The crowd noticed and made space. Children asked to greet Hope, and Anna allowed it, watching carefully. Hope remained gentle and calm, sitting patiently as small hands reached out. The town leader stepped forward and spoke about kindness and courage. He spoke of how help can come from unexpected places and how listening matters. He thanked Anna and then turned to Hope. The crowd applauded softly. Hope sat still, ears alert, eyes steady. Anna felt emotion rise but remained composed. After the gathering, Anna and Hope walked home under a sky painted with warm colors. The air felt peaceful. Hope walked close, brushing against Anna's leg. Anna reached down and touched its head. Both understood this quiet moment without words. As seasons changed, Hope continued to grow, learning new skills and showing loyalty beyond measure. Anna faced challenges in her work, but never felt alone anymore. Hope waited for her each day, offering comfort and strength. Their trust became unshakable, built on a moment of bravery and choice. One evening, Anna received a call near the same road where she first met Hope. A driver had stopped because a small animal was seen near the roadside. Anna arrived quickly. Hope sat alert in the car, watching carefully. When Anna stepped out, she saw a frightened kitten hiding in the grass. She moved slowly and spoke gently. Hope stayed still, showing calm presence. The kitten was rescued safely, and Anna smiled, knowing the lesson had come full circle. That night, Anna sat at home with Hope resting beside her. The house felt warm and full. Anna thought about how a simple choice to stop and listen had changed everything. She had followed a small puppy into a field and found purpose waiting. Hope lifted its head and looked at Anna, sensing her thoughts. Anna smiled and rested her hand on Hope's back. The journey that began with fear had grown into trust. The story that began with urgency had become one of peace. In the quiet of the night, Anna felt grateful. She knew not every day would be easy, but she also knew she would face them with Hope by her side. The bond they shared was more than chance. It was built on courage, care, and listening. And so the puppy that once stood in front of a police car had found its place, not as a hero in stories, but as a steady presence in a shared life. The road was no longer just a road, it was the beginning of something lasting, something kind, something real.